All right, I'm just
All
plugging in the
right.
microphone. Hey, everybody. Hi.
Yes. You're plugging in the microphone. This is the with CP. This is the CP3D series of the with CP podcast. We got some special guests today. David, as always, he's the comptroller of the CP3D podcast. We've got some meetings, some people hopping on and off, but David's gonna hold the line.
Hey, topic for the day because people are going to move in and move out here, and we want to get everybody's voice before they got to go. Or no. Topic for the day: Kamala Harris's campaign in the last 2.5 weeks has been spectacular. Or let's just say that that this moment has been spectacular. All
Mm-hmm.
right, things seem to be going really great, as well as they could go, and so many things could be going wrong and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So many
Mm-hmm.
things
Yeah.
could be, and they're not. The topic for each of us is to offer our primary reason why you think it's been such a spectacular 2.5 weeks for her. Okay. And Charles and I already know we're going to disagree on this. All right. Okay.
That's right.
So,
We had a pre podcast debate, so we're gonna kick it to our guests first, and then
sure.
David and I will weigh in.
So,
Let's
one
let Jordan
major
go
reason
first.
that's
Okay.
like Jordan Schulte, our senior development associate, which works with the Institute, senior associate. Jordan is behind the scenes doing everything, including that incredible report that we've all just gotten for Educators for Democracy. What an amazing report,
Yay.
Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ellen
Thank
Ferguson, one of our incredible supporters over time. Gail Picker's out there too. She's coming back. Jordan, you're up first.
Yeah, I have just been extremely impressed by her presence on social media and influence and just the grasp that she's taken on Gen Z and millennials. The way that she's interweaving cultural elements, like various different social media platforms. I can't go on my phone without scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, and finding something about her, about the campaign, getting more information, not even just like the cultural memes, moments, the funny things, whatever it is. Her attaching Beyonce's song to her first campaign video, the way that she is importing her information and the concepts of her campaign and her um stances on like the things that she's running on. I can't go a day without seeing them, and I'm extremely impressed. And she's doing, and they're short and sweet enough to maintain people's attention, at least people my age's attention on social media. And they're taking them and running with it. And just even the power that she's holding over influencers and people who are really like moving people of this age group and really like getting them to want to watch these videos, listen to podcasts, watch the news, whatever it is. She's tagging and pulling on the right individuals in the space right now, for sure, 100%. And it's been extremely impressive to me. I'm glad that she's doing it because it's working, at least from what I could see.
I love that we started with your perspective. That's great because so
Yeah.
many people are like, "What do the Gen Zs think?" So
Yep.
this is
That's
great.
right.
All right.
Does
We
it does
got we
it
got one in.
feel like a more like an entertainment kind of space almost like it's the Beyonce album, it's the Taylor Swift this or whatever?
Not necessarily. I don't
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like that at all. I think, and like we were mentioning earlier in previous meetings and things, like people are feeling, however they may have felt with Biden before, and then this shift, it was literally a shift. Like everyone felt it. The excitement, the inspiration, the hope increased in such a dramatic way that now just absorbing information from her allows people to feel, I think, almost in a sense closer, or like that she's more relatable to them in the sense that they're have more access to her and like things that she's presenting herself in. And so it doesn't feel like a show or like entertainment in that sense. It kind of just feels like she's going down these specific avenues and paths that are targeting the age group and where millennials and Gen Z are sitting right now in this like political moment. This is where they're going, this is where they're looking, the news they're absorbing. And so she's targeting that very well. But
Mhm.
doing it in like very strategic ways. So like, yeah, she chose the Beyonce song, but it was that specific song. And
Mhm.
not even just using the song, but the moment and the point within the song. It wasn't just the beginning or the end. It's like we want these lyrics at this point. So the way that she's doing is strategic as well. So it doesn't feel like complete entertainment, but the balance is amazing, I think.
Mhm.
Man, that's so good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Charles, how much time you got? You got time for another one, or do you want to go now, Charles?
Oh, let's go. No, let's go. I want to hear from
Okay.
everybody.
Ellen. Now, Ellen, I owe Ellen a cookie. All right. I owe Ellen a cookie because she correctly predicted the vice presidential choice. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you
I'm in-
really?
Yeah. Hey, I was on board. I was so on board. I'm like a boomer. He's sort of a borderline boomer. So we kind of like get each other, really. Well,
I believe
just,
that. So was
America's
this-
uncle.
Did you hold on? Did you predict it because that's who you wanted, or did you think they're gonna pick him because he's the best choice?
I predicted him because I just felt like that's where the juice was going. The mojo, his mojo
Okay.
was up, and as it got closer to the decision weekend and day, some things came up for Shapiro that could be a distraction.
Yep.
And Kelly is a great American, and incredible resume on paper, and just didn't have the either the personality, and also had some issues that would be of concern. And bless his heart for stepping in for his wife to be a senator. Never really thought, he never expected to be there. So I just didn't feel he didn't have the fire in his belly. And Waltz was just coming up so fast, but it was in the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. So I've read a couple pieces. We'll get your take on why it's been so successful. But Kamala Harris called Tim Walz the first day when Joe Biden dropped out as a courtesy call. She was calling lots of people.
Yep.
And they have connected. They went to a Planned Parenthood in Wisconsin or in Minnesota last year.
Minnesota.
The first vice president, as Dr. Kiana Scott told us, first president or vice president to ever go to an abortion clinic, and they went together.
Yeah.
But at that time, there was no sense that Walz was going to be in the picture at all when she called him 12 days ago.
Yep. I really took to heart something I've read a number of times and heard from like Axelrod and those folks, is the chemistry piece is so important.
Yeah.
I've been on the planet long enough to see VPs who were like a nothing burger and chosen for the wrong reasons, to, Obama actually needed Biden for his foreign policy experience. And, I think put that to use. And just thinking about her, and what she said it, and others said, if this, and we know it will, goes for the next 8 years, who's that partner? Like really a genuine partner, not just some window dressing or pick for the right state, but the person that you really want to put your head together with. And I think he's a seasoned guy, and we know the Midwestern and all of that, but I don't know. It's interesting when I learned he's only 6 months older than her. I mean, so he's like, kind of, they have a generation in common.
Absolutely.
But he just brings this whole other capacity to engage with, obviously, Jordan, for what you said, young folks are jazzed. My generation's jazzed. It's a moment, Charles.
Well,
right? It's a moment.
The thing that he said, I think that piece overrides everything else, or that was the tipping point for her. And the thing that they have in common the most, it's not the what we're trying to accomplish or what we did in the past, but it's the how. And the very first thing he said when he did his speech was he acknowledged the joy that she brings to the campaign.
Yeah.
And that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He brings joy and authenticity. He loves his job. He loves the work that he does. And he's loved every stop along his journey. He loved being in the military, loved being a coach. He loved leading the group in high school,
LGBT group, alliance,
in high school. He loves, fixing cars and talking about that. So he just does it. You know what I mean? Like he finds joy in his entire journey. And that is what she needs. That's what she does. And she wants someone who does that. Not somebody who's like a great politician or somebody who can answer questions or come up with one-liners. Everybody in the last the last day or two, like every single one of those people could get up on Fox News and tear people to shreds. So, Walz is the guy who, at the end of the day, looking at the Obama Biden, who are you going to go walk down the street and get a burger with? It's Walz. He's that guy.
Yep. As
Yeah.
Bush said, or
Yeah.
they said about Bush, who do you want to drink a beer with? And he's a good
That's it.
Midwestern beer drinking guy, I bet. Yeah, no,
That's
it's
it. Yep.
it's a beautiful thing. And you know what I think? She's so smart, and she's actually a fairly serious person, I think. And I think he brings the joy out of her. It has been so delightful watching her behind him on stage.
Yes.
He is cracking her up, and it's just it's beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
so
Gail.
exciting.
What do you
Gail,
think, Gail?
The question, Gail, is what's the biggest reason things have gone and are going so well for the Harris campaign right now?
That is a really good question. So I'll tell you what I think. So, you know how when we go on these trips, you say voting. So we're going to introduce you to people who were willing to die for the right to vote, right?
Yeah.
So you teach us about that. And you show us a group of people, Diane Nash kind of group, that wrote their wills before they got on a bus.
Mm-hmm.
So then fast forward to today. Why should I vote? Why should I face what I might have to face in my community to vote? If you're a young person, or if you're a person in some towns in the South where they won't seat a mayor
Mm-hmm.
because he's the wrong race, so he gets elected and the powers that be won't let him have the keys. It has to go to court. So that's happening in the United States. Why should we vote? Here it is. That's the most important thing to me, is that she stands for why should go to the furthest lengths. So here's the option. You can have, I'm going to stop talking in a minute, I promise. You can have joy, you can have radicalism in the people that you choose, not in their positions, but just in the people. A leader who's female in a world that says, a leader who is a person of color, another leader who grew up in where? Nebraska? Where is that again? Where's Nebraska again? Right. So, okay, let's have that. And then have joy compared to mad and grumpy. So you vote for mad and grumpy, or you vote for joy. What's the future? Wouldn't you go to bat for that? Wouldn't you fight to register to vote for that? So I think it's calling people out. It's calling out the best of what we are, not the angriest of what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm done.
That was good. That was good. I like how you brought in history. I think that's always something that should be that is at the forefront of, especially as we talk about voting rights. It's always at the forefront of our minds. I know it is for us at Common Power, but increasingly around the country, it is not lost on us that this struggle is directly connected to those folks that fought for the right to vote in the civil rights movement. And you mentioned that town down in the South. That's a town in Alabama, and that's where Selma is, and that's where one of the milestone moments of the fight for voting rights. And was it yesterday? I'm losing track of my days here. Yesterday was the anniversary, right?
Yep.
59th anniversary. Okay. All right, David.
So
Now's your turn.
Yeah. Why do we think that this campaign has been 2.5 weeks of just spectacular? It's like a perfect game in baseball. It's been like a perfect game. Or at least it's looked like that. I'm going to say it's because the Democratic Kamala Harris represents a next generation in the Democratic Party. And Harris has known that she represents that. And there has been this tussle among the people that reside at that level in the Democratic Party. There has been identities. There's been a Cory Booker. There's been a Josh Shapiro. There's a Gavin Newsom. There's and on and on and on it goes. And they're all spectacular. They're all very, very good, or at least most of them are really, really good. But Harris has had the chance to be in the highest level of power. And she's been right there. None of those other folks have been there. And Harris in that position has, without a doubt, and especially since post-Dobbs, the Dobbs decision, has found her purpose so definitively, and she is so on point. There is no margins, there is no doubt in that person at this time. Like she knows what she's doing. And what I saw from her in 2019 and 2020 was somebody who was looking for that purpose. What was that purpose? You got to be able to answer the question of why you're running for president. You have to be able to answer that question. And she has the message, we are not going back. And she embodies it, and her policies represent it as well. So the reality is that she has her purpose to run, and she has, because of the exigencies of the moment, because of the urgency of the moment, all those other people got behind her. Okay, they all got behind her in this moment. Now you know, ambitious wise, that what was going on with the VP was like, damn, like, you know, she could be president for 8 years. What's that going to mean for my presidential choice? And Gretchen Whitmer and all these folks, they're phenomenal. But the moment prompted them to get behind Harris, and I give Pelosi and others a lot of credit for making that happen. But it's Harris at the front of that vanguard, at the front of that V, that has done that. Because if she had weakened, if she had been not good, if she had not been as dialed in focus, then all of that would have come back to her and undermined her. And there's been none of that. So to me, she has earned it. She deserves it. She gets the props out in front. And I'm so happy that she has a VP that knows that about her. Okay. Mm-hmm. So happy.
Okay. All right. So you just proved my point. This is exactly what I was, because the point you're making is that the point that you made, and maybe it was accidental, is that the answer to like why her campaign has been so flawless and brilliant is that it's not actually about the campaign. Okay, what they have to do is not mess up, which is a contribution to the moment, but it's not because of them. Okay, the reason why this is working the way it is because Kamala freaking Harris, is because of her. It's because all the work she did in California, right? Because if there are any holes in that, if there are any slip-ups or any skeletons in the closet over there, she would be in trouble. And we'll see here in a few weeks, but I think she's been vetted. If she didn't build the coalition over there, if she didn't then build a national coalition behind her and build those relationships and strengthen them throughout her career, she would have never been ready for this moment. When the light switch happened, everyone was like, yes, I know Kamala. And she was ready. If she hadn't failed, in the eyes of some people, failed as vice president with some of the projects that she'd been given, if she didn't lose visibility, have to deal with the challenge of being invisible and being disrespected by whomever, that's another topic, but not being given meaty responsibilities, not being placed in a level with high visibility. If she didn't have to go through that challenge and then overcome it and then rise to where she is now, she would have never been able to stand today. And so why is the campaign so awesome? It's because Kamala Harris is awesome. It's because she's a tried and tested politician, elected official that has been through the fire, and she is the best at campaigning and governing. She's been through the fire. So that was where I was going with that. That's exactly what I thought, is that it is actually because of who she's been this entire time leading up to this moment that we are fortunate enough to have her right now, to be strong right now. Because to Jordan's points early on, the Kamala Harris memes don't arise without just Kamala being herself. Without her being her like authentic full self. Her support from the Black community doesn't come without her actually living in the Black community culturally and having those connections already. she was gold when she was named, and then everyone was like, yes, I co-sign this. So I want to pose that, and then I got one more reason why I think.
Well, on the memes point, I think what makes a meme is there has to be an authenticity behind the meme. That's what makes it viral, because that's why people can buy it and then pick it up and adapt it. They're like, I want to be like that person, or laugh at them, or whatever. So the JD Vance memes may not be totally true in their essence, but there's a truth behind them. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about with Harris, is that the joy and the way in which she interacts with humans and the way that she brings to life is like, we're not like that. That's real, of course. And that meme, I'm just so glad that somebody in her team and around jumped on that and went with those and made those immediately. Okay. They like that some peoples have
Well, they
done
captured it. Yeah. They like captured what was already going on organically, but the people decided that was going to be a viral thing. The people made those videos. The campaign is capitalized on that, and that's smart, and that's the part that they deserve credit for. But if she were not resonant with the American people of that generation, then they would have nothing to work with. They couldn't manufacture virality when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Can I jump in with a quick thing on this? Yeah. You know, it's a lot of politics is luck and timing. And it's like the administration and she aligned in the last year. And in a way, the last year she's been campaigning without campaigning. She has been on the road. She's been at the college campuses. She's just been building, building relationships and people getting to know her. And Charles and Gail, the three of us saw her, a month ago in Seattle. And I saw her 3 years ago. You probably did. She is way better. She has been tested. I mean, in addition to sitting at the right hand of the president, the most powerful person and the leader in the world, but being on the road as much as she has been, her comfort level is so high. And just in terms of her readiness, it felt like, and then in the month when we all pounded our head on the table watching the debate, she handled that flawlessly.
Oh my gosh.
She was still the vice president, supporting the vice president. And just the words were the perfect words. And so really, when the moment came, she really was ready. But some people think, oh, this is now such a short campaign. And it's like, no, this has been building to this point.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think the same thing goes for CP. I mean, David, we talked about this in the last podcast episode where it feels like the campaign's moving towards us. Especially with the pickle walls. But for us and the success we're seeing right now, that's not because we engineered some, PR move right now. It's because we put our heads down and we did the good work. And we got good people around us. We focused on good relationships. And so when the moment comes that nationally we are recognized, it won't be because we did really well in this like last few weeks. It'll be because we focused on the good work and relationships. Go ahead, David.
I think that point about her campaigning really in absentia for Biden, right? Because Biden couldn't or wouldn't do that, is so made. I think you're so right. And then you look at Vance, who clearly wasn't prepared to do any of this, right?
Right.
Not at all. Not like the step for Vance was like a jump beyond what he could take. Whereas for Harris, it was just a step. It was just a step, right? And that's, it's beautiful. It's so uncommon for the folks we root for, right? It's just like, it's amazing.
I just want to go with what you guys were saying. I think we've seen glimpses of her in this way and in this space, even from the beginning when her and Joe won, and she's like, we did it, and she's out on a walk, and like we did it, Joe. These moments we see her. And see her, more closely, and it resonates with people, even throughout, her time as VP, having these little interviews with people who, are culturally significant, having little, stances here and showing up in these moments with culturally significant individuals and having these kind of hilarious moments, or talking about her hair, or talking about her time doing this, cooking, and just little moments yeah, her cooking, little moments that she's been able to kind of interweave and, you know, show up where people are like, oh, I remember that, like before. And so it started very early with
Yeah,
her, these
yeah.
moments where she's been able to connect with people, just about things that we would all talk about at the dinner table. And you're like, oh, I remember when Kamala was saying this about this. And then now just taking that and ramping up and continuing. So I
Mhm.
think I thought about those moments. I'm like, I remember that. And then her just
Mhm.
continuing even stronger in this moment. So she's been there and just
Yeah.
moving forward.
Want
Okay,
to
I
say
gotta run. Oh, I'm sorry, Gail.
no, you got to.
Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead. I
I
want to
want
hear
to say
what
two
you got.
things. One is she did something really interesting. As it became clear that she was going to be the person,
Mhm.
she did not change her schedule. She
Mhm.
was scheduled to speak to an African American
Mhm.
sorority,
Yeah, right,
which
right.
is a small in a
Mhm.
place
Mhm.
area. I mean, most big shots. Oh, I have to change my schedule and go to this huge event.
Mhm.
Not Kamala. She's like,
Mhm.
I committed to these people. These people have backed me.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
going. And so
Yep.
I mean, that speaks to her who she is,
Mhm.
If she's committed to you, she's committed to you. That's one thing. The other thing is that I think there's been history has coalesced. And I wish Dr. Terry was here to talk about this, but she started saying, basically, I'm fierce and don't cross me. When she
Mhm.
came out guns blazing for abortion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole misogynistic thing that built up around Hillary Clinton, like her voice, like her outfit, that just ruined anybody's understanding of who this person is. Didn't have a chance to build up because we didn't have those primaries.
Yep.
So I feel like those two events built a wall to disallow something that's so poisonous in the society.
Mm.
I'm done.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
good. I like that. I like that. And also shout out to Hillary for blazing the trail, because
Yeah.
if Kamala had to cut through those weeds herself, I think we
Mhm.
would be talking about a different story here. Okay, so a couple things. One, and maybe we'll talk about this on a different podcast episode, David, with some more Gen Zs. Go and find us some Gen Zs, Jordan.
Yep.
So one of my theories about her opposition, Donald Trump, is that so as Kamala has, all these viral moments and all these elements that have broken through the political zeitgeist, and really just, Gen Zs are driving a bunch of this messaging. Kamala's cool. Who's like a rerun episode? Fucking Donald Trump. It's the same shit. It's
Yeah.
the same shit. And he hasn't evolved his message, and it's
Mhm.
actually predictable, and he's boring.
Mhm.
He's boring. He's old. He's not just, it's not his age, it's that his shtick is old.
Mhm.
How many years
Mhm.
now has he been losing in politics? How many cycles have we seen him on the news? He gets on TV and people are like, all right, I know he's going to say. And these are people who
Mhm.
support him. Like, they're tired of him. He's got
Mhm.
nothing new. And JD Vance is just like new things to make fun of. So
Mhm.
my theory about them is not only is Kamala rising, but Trump is falling.
Yeah.
And it's just, even people who are like, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm tired of you. I'm
Mhm.
not going to vote. That's the underlying story
Yeah.
here that's going to actually become more evident, is that he is boring, no new news. Even if he commits new crimes, like bribed by Egypt, that's like, people are like, of course. And this is so predictable. Of course, he took bribes from a foreign country,
Mhm.
whatever. And there's some dangers there too, with us being complacent about people committing these massive crimes. But I think he loses effect with a bunch of voters in the middle, and that's how we're going to win in a bunch of these states. And this is probably why he's going to get blown in. So that's my first thing. Second thing is, David, Terry just forwarded you a photo in your text messages.
Oh,
And for the sake of this podcast and the people that are on it and the people who will watch it later on YouTube, I need you to figure out how to get that on your Slack or whatever and show it and share screen, because that image is amazing and it's a real treat. And I think that everyone should talk about that image and what that means for Common Power going forward.
are you serious?
Yeah, dude, you should talk about this
Can we do
because
it
it's
on
a big deal.
Can we do it on the next one?
No. Okay, fine. You know what? Here, I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
I'm just
dang.
gonna show it.
Like, I want to know what it
I'm
is
gonna
now.
show it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show it. Here, I'm gonna show it right here. I'm gonna show it right here. Because, and it could be a small thing now, but there's more here. There's more in this photo. Okay, there's a lot in there. I want you to take that in.
Wow. Wow.
And there's
Okay.
there's a piece of text right above it.
Oh no, it
Yeah,
doesn't
what-
matter. Look at the Harry and David and Kamala and Walls. Okay, we can talk
Yeah.
about how this all makes sense,
Yeah.
but the similarity there,
I
the
know.
chemistry,
I'm Walls. I got it.
Okay.
I know that I'm Walls. It's like
we know which one you are, David. I can't believe you just like had to communicate which one you are. But I think that there's like a funny part of that. Okay, there's a funny part of that, and then there's the part that says this is actually what is successful in America today.
Yeah.
Like this is what it takes for
Mhm.
bold ideas to gain traction, to be communicated, to last beyond just kind of a flash in the pan. And it's very cool that a part of the secret sauce of a big piece of CP is in line with what is going to help us win this election in November. So yeah. All right. Okay. I'm going to run.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you all. Thanks for joining.
thanks, Charles.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So this is the way the podcast kind of goes. And every day we have a topic or two we're going to talk about. I feel like Harris can't continue as we wrap up here, this incredible run that they're on. Like it just can't. Like he can't. Okay. And so like in every bit of me is like, well, there's going to be some things that are going to happen that we don't want to happen. But today there are like 40,000 people in Western Wisconsin that are out there at their rally. And there's going to be 50,000 plus in Detroit. All right. And this moment, magic, like there's some things about this that are never replicable.
Mhm.
Like the Biden stepping down, Harris seizing the moment, right? I mean, Walls changing the entire national narrative with his weird and weirdo
Mhm.
stuff, right? That like this is it seems unreplicable.
Mhm.
And in that moment, it feels like this is, I think, has the potential to be bigger than Obama in 08. All right. And Obama in 08 was transcendent, but he wasn't running against Trump. Okay. For Charles's point. Like if Obama lost in 08, I would have been devastated. Millions of Americans would have been disappointed. We would have had this moment in our grasp and we didn't get to it. But he would have lost to a good man. Okay. He would have lost to John McCain. And McCain was not going to destroy this country. All right. He's not. And the stakes are just higher now. And Harris also, we got to do more about the joy thing. The joy thing is really quite profound.
Yeah.
Because Obama's cool. Obama was like cool and aloof. I'm gonna go shoot baskets.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kamala's like, I'm gonna dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just couldn't agree more. And I think just to the point that Charles made before he got off, the contrast between them is so, I mean, it was already, Trump is, we already know, but the joy that Kamala brings, and then just like what Charles was saying, this continuation of Trump engaging in such like very, very boring, very weird, all these actions that are continuing to off-put people who may have been on that side and are, you know, moving and are realizing and seeing like this is not the direction that they want to go in. Like there's so much evidence of that, and there's so many people coming out and saying that they're understanding that and seeing that joy and seeing what's going on with Kamala and seeing what's going on with Walls and just like understanding that. I think what you said, capitalizing on that and continuing to recognize and promote that joy that's coming from Kamala and Walls and everything is key. Like that is huge. As people continue to witness the negativity, they see the joy, and it's the contrast is so stark.
And
So stark.
it felt like it was gone forever. Right? It just felt like we're just never going to get it again, right? COVID, right? Racial violence and discrimination is so horrible, right? Like, where are we going to ever find that joy again? And like, boom.
And I think just the fact that you said that, I think too, because I just saw something literally yesterday and this morning from a couple different, like, you know, influential people who are supporting Kamala and are posting and are, you know, using their audiences to really engage people in the conversation and like the political conversation, saying, you know, I was feeling basically what you're saying, I was feeling down, we had all this going on. They're like, now the Olympics and seeing but really like seeing the US excel in the Olympics and then seeing the joy that Kamala's bringing. They're like, I feel hope. Like I'm seeing all these posts and people are saying, I'm feeling hopeful because we're doing well here and we're doing well here. And they're like, you know, I'm feeling pride and proud again in a space where I was once feeling like very defeated and, you know, sad and not, you know, filled with as much inspiration. Now they get to have these two moments come together. And I think people are seeing that and grasping onto it. And that's what we should hold on to and promote.
Yeah.
Yay. Well said, Jordan.
Thank you.
Got one more minute, David. You as a press guy, you know, under luck and timing in a short campaign. I mean, we were in despair. Those of us that watched the GOP convention, you couldn't imagine how we're going to get out of this deal. Was it within a week Biden makes the right choice?
Yeah.
We are like shot out of a cannon. And now the momentum, the series of momentums from her being chosen, the Dems rallying around behind her, the could have been, would have beens, how quickly that happened, the endorsements pouring in, the funds pouring in, and then it became the Veep stakes. And that keeps the momentum going. And we're all engaged and we're all curious. And we remember what a great bench we have. This is going to roll into our convention, which is going to be epic. And next thing you know, it's Labor Day and fall. And then it's just heading for November 5th, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ellen and Gail, you have been, you know, Ellen, we've been together forever, over a decade in our work together. And Gail, you've become so foundational to us at Common Power in the last 4 years. It's been amazing. So we have like this history of the roller coasters, right? But to me, it feels, and this is to you, Jordan, it feels like the team of destiny kind of moment where we're a team, like they get a couple breaks. A couple things go their way, right? And they win a game they should lose or something, right? And then they start to win another one, and then things start to build, and it just becomes like unstoppable is what it feels like, right? And you're like, you kind of are riding a little bit on the edge a bit for it, but the reality is that it just becomes like this moment of destiny. And Obama built, see you, Gail. Obama built from really 2004 to 2008. He did from his convention speech in 2004. Harris had this moment and then became this vice president and really all of a sudden came out of the cannon, as you said, again, boom, shot out of the cannon and was ready to go suddenly here. And so there's an energy here that is unbottleable.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
So as any good progressive, I live in a little bit of terror that it's going to all blow up. Okay. All right. Okay. But we're going to enjoy the ride. We are. And thanks for joining the podcast today, CP3D. We're rolling. We got it going. And so let's head on out. Today is Thursday. No, it's Wednesday, August 7th. One day after the announcement of Harris and Walls together. They're in the Midwest today. So onward together, folks.
Yep. Let's go.
See
Thanks,
ya.
David. See you, Jordan.
Bye. See ya.
Good stuff. Onward.